Hi everyone and welcome to Impact. I'm Nick Barber, your host for the government segment. And today we have part 2 of an interview with Robert Porter, and Robert Porter's road name is Bar. We had a great interview the last time and we're glad that he came back to talk to us some more. So,
Thank you.
Bar,
good to see you again.
Welcome again. Good to see you. Last time we talked about you and your background, and it was a great interview. Learned a lot about you and very interesting. You've done a lot. We'll talk a little bit more about that too. Your involvement in many organizations, your volunteerism, your effort for public office. You'll be running for city council in Albany, New York this November, and we wish you well. We're going to follow your campaign.
Thank you.
But let's talk more about ABATE. How did ABATE get started? Did you start it?
No,
how did it come about?
ABATE was started back in the 70s. It was originally called the Association of Bikers Against Totalitarian Enactments. Motorcyclists realized that they were being singled out, villainized by the government and law enforcement, and they wanted a means to educate people and get their message out that they weren't that bad. Yes, as in any group that you have out there, there is always an element that doesn't agree with the law, but the people that ride today, a good example is the Patriot Guard riders.
Thank you.
Yeah. They're doctors, lawyers, respectable members of the community.
Yes.
They provide to the community, and they do benefit runs where they raise money for charities. They escort the remains of service members who've fallen in battle to Saratoga National Cemetery.
Yes.
And you know, these people just want to enjoy riding a motorcycle.
Well, you're talking to one because you know I'm a member of Patriot Guard, and that's how I met you at the Veterans Day Parade with the Patriot Guard.
And so one of the big issues there is that New York State just tried to raise the fine for loud pipes on motorcycles from $100 to $700.
Oh my God.
Right.
Is that Gantz again? Who's,
no.
Who's pushing that one?
I don't have
all right, but
whose bill that is.
Somebody's sponsoring it.
Somebody's sponsoring it.
$700.
$700.
Wow.
The state police.
That's not punitive, is it? $700. Everybody's walking around with $700 in their pocket, right? If you just, I mean, that's a lot of money.
That's more than the set of pipes.
Yeah.
And so the New York State Police have created motorcycle-only checkpoints where they propose that this is a safety issue, so they stop the motorcyclists, they check their registration, they check their insurance, they check their license, they then search the person, which is a violation of their rights.
You've got to have a warrant to search somebody. You can't just search somebody at will.
No. The police say, can I look at your helmet? Can I look at your pipes?
Yeah.
And if you give them consent, that is a consent to search.
Well, and usually people are trying to be accommodating and want to get in trouble, so they will, but they don't realize they don't have to do that.
No.
They can say no.
I say no.
You say no.
I've been stopped twice by the state police.
All right.
Both occasions the police officer wanted to search my helmet, and I told him no.
Okay. And what happened?
He said, I still like to see it, and I asked him why.
Yeah.
And he couldn't give me a legal reason why he wanted to look at my helmet.
Right.
Now, there is a law.
Did he back off eventually, though? I mean,
he wrote me a ticket anyway.
Yeah.
Okay,
but he didn't get to inspect your helmet like you wanted to.
Nope.
Okay.
And he wrote me the ticket.
Right.
I went to court on the tickets. The courts, as you can imagine, for traffic fines are very biased towards law enforcement. And the officer never proved his case, and I was found guilty in one court. In the other court, the judge was a little bit more sympathetic towards me.
Yeah.
He actually listened to my bio and realized that I wasn't some rebel. I was a law enforcement officer myself.
Yes.
And that what the law enforcement officer had done was illegal.
Right. You were an MP in the Marine Corps, weren't you?
I was a military policeman. I was a criminal investigator. I was a drill instructor, and I was a military police instructor at Fort Leonard Wood. So I taught Marines how to be military police. So I wasn't just the average guy.
That's pretty significant. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So what happened with the second?
The second case was dismissed.
Yeah. Good. That's good.
But currently, the state police, just this past week, on the June 22nd, stopped motorcyclists for 5 hours, issued 89 citations for helmets and loud pipes. Now, I don't understand how they say it's a safety issue when cars hit motorcycles. That's the #1 cause of motorcycle accident.
Been there, done that.
The number one cause for a motorcycle accident is a car making a left-hand turn in front of a motorcyclist.
That's exactly what happened to me.
So I don't understand how stopping a motorcyclist is making it safer for the motorcyclist. Currently, in the Department of Motor Vehicles handout and testing for a new licensed driver of a car, there is no coverage, there's no instruction, and there's no questions on motorcycles. So they don't learn about motorcycles.
That's interesting.
Right.
Because if the automobile drivers were educated and had some kind of training and some kind of impression in their mind to watch out for motorcycles and to be more aware and alert, that would reduce the number of injuries in motorcycle accidents, because it is usually, as you said, the vehicles.
Yes.
I mean, you could be doing everything right, and then all of a sudden some idiot left turns in front of you, hooks a U-turn, bang, you can't stop.
Well, on May 1st, I was hit by a car.
Were you?
Yes.
What happened?
I was on Central Avenue, merging with Western Avenue. I was in the left-hand lane on Central, which becomes the left-hand lane.
Right.
And this individual was in the right-hand lane behind a city bus. There was no traffic in the left-hand lane ahead of him, so he didn't look, and he changed lanes, hitting my motorcycle and knocking me over.
What's the old saying, the most common saying, I didn't see you?
Yes.
That's what they always say, I did not see you. That's because you weren't looking, you weren't paying attention. I know motorcycles are hard to see, especially in the daytime when it's sunny and there's distractions, but if that education could get out, and you could make this part of the motor vehicle driving test, even if there was 2 or 3 questions on there.
Yes.
You know, that would be great. So that's something to really advocate for, and I hope that we can help you do that here on Impact, and we will. You know, we'll talk about this stuff more down the road. You know, I mean, 2 years ago, I had the same thing happen, you know. Wound up getting a broken nose, a bike trash, and, you know, God knows what could have happened.
Over $3,000 worth of damage on my motorcycle.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, almost 4. Yeah, but how are you? Were you injured?
I did go to the emergency room. I did receive medical care from the Veterans Administration.
Right.
I have another return appointment. Doesn't seem too serious, fortunately for me.
Well, thank God. Now, this 89 bikes that they stopped recently here, where was that? All over the state? Or
it was in Latham. It was a motorcycle-only checkpoint that the state
Right.
police set up.
How many loud pipes violations did they have? Did they have a lot?
They didn't list how many violations. They only said that they had it and that 89 people were stopped.
Yeah.
And of course, they highlighted that one of the motorcyclists didn't stop for the checkpoint. Well, it's unconstitutional. The checkpoint is illegal.
Oh, is it?
You can't segregate motorcycles from cars under New York State vehicle law.
Okay.
If you have a checkpoint, like a seatbelt checkpoint,
oh, I get
a cell phone checkpoint.
It should be for all vehicles, trucks, cars, buses,
everybody stopped.
Okay.
It's illegal to segregate motorcyclists.
So they were discriminating against bikers only.
Right. And so this individual...
That'd be a good defense, wouldn't it?
This individual decided not to stop. They then cited him for a litany of crimes that are unconstitutional.
Yeah.
And so it makes all motorcyclists look like they're guilty, like they're villains, like they're breaking the law.
Right.
When they're not.
Yes.
We're doing charitable work. We're in the Patriot Guard Riders.
Yes.
We're in Rolling Thunder. We're in all sorts of things that benefit the community.
Yeah. And
they're making it look like we're villains.
Yeah. And that's the bad perception. That's the bad rap.
Right.
We know there's some tough guys out there, and there's some, you know, but for the most part, bikers are decent, respectable, you know, just pretty much law-abiding citizens too that just want to enjoy.
Now the other side is not just the loud pipes, but they stopped individuals for having what are called illegal helmets that do not meet the DOT standard.
Yeah, the DOT standards. Yep.
Now, that's great, you know, that they want to teach people to wear the appropriate safety gear.
Yeah.
The problem is that's the same as stopping a car driver and telling them that the Department of Transportation and National Highway Traffic Safety Administration recalled their seatbelt, and the seatbelt that you're wearing in good faith is illegal.
Right.
Here's your ticket.
Yeah. How the hell are you supposed to know that?
Right. But at the same time, under New York State law, it's illegal to sell a helmet in New York State that does not meet those standards.
Yes.
So if you want to prevent people from wearing the wrong type of helmets, wouldn't it be smarter to go to the individuals who are selling these helmets and citing them for selling illegal helmets, not going after the motorcyclist, because you're impeding traffic, you're causing a scene,
Yeah.
you're spending money because the officers have to do this on their overtime.
Yeah.
Why not just go to the motorcycle shop and say, that helmet right there is illegal in the state of New York. Don't sell it.
Gee, that's a good point. I wonder, have they ever done that?
No.
If they ever went to the shops and just did, like, you know how the sealer of weights and measures goes to the gas pumps,
Right,
into the grocery store, in
Scales.
the meat department, the scales, and they check them and everything? I mean, why couldn't they do that with distributors of motorcycle helmets and equipment? That's not a bad idea. So there's something. Some of these legislators want to do some things that are effective and that work. They should listen to this show and listen to your organization. And if any of you out there are legislators, listen, because you know, some of these are good ideas, and some innocent people are getting penalized because of these misunderstandings. So
right.
that's something to go after.
If you or I go into a store, and say it's the ShopRite or Grand Union or Price Chopper, and we buy a pound of meat, and we expect it to be a pound of meat, and we pay for it, and we walk out.
Yeah.
And that inspector of weights and scales then takes that pound of meat from you and puts it on his scale and finds out that it's not the right weight, and then gives you a fine because the store sold you the wrong amount.
Well, that's the whole idea. That's the whole idea.
It's backwards.
Yeah. I guess it's the intent and the knowledge, you know, but somebody says, people say ignorance is no excuse for the law or something, but I think these are great ideas. Now let's get back to the pipes and that stop, you know, that discriminating stop of motorcyclists only. Did you go to the Americade? You go to any big events? Were you up there?
I do go to Americade.
Yeah.
I go to the Harley Rendezvous, which is a closer event, which is just here in Esperance.
Oh, I know. I was there working on the fireworks show with the fireworks guy.
Yep.
Yeah. But my point is, when the law knows, the state police whoever knows there's going to be huge groups of bikers.
Well, once again,
what happens? Because you got a checkpoint where they're trying to nail you intentionally and illegally, and then you have a gathering where they know there are going to be a lot of motorcycles like Lake George. It'll be several days, and there's a lot of people that have real loud pipes.
Well, the thing is once again, at Lake George, at Americade,
yeah,
I can go there and I can get a set of Vance and Hines pipes put on my motorcycle.
Yes.
Aftermarket pipes.
Yes.
That will improve the performance of my motorcycle.
Yes.
Improve my gas performance.
Right.
Get my mileage up so I ride longer on less gas.
Yes.
Which motorcycles already beat every car out there.
Of course.
But since it's an aftermarket pipe, I'm breaking the law. And I'll get a ticket for it. Once again,
they want to make it $700 now.
But once again, why are they selling it in New York if it's illegal to have in New York? Why aren't the state police going to Americade, going to that shop and saying you can't put that pipe on this motorcycle in New York State because it's illegal? So now the person thinks that they're doing these benefits to their motorcycle.
Yeah.
They leave Americade.
Yeah.
They're riding down the road. The police have set up the motorcycle-only checkpoint, and they give him a ticket for $100 for the pipes. And he's going, but wait a minute, I just bought them over there. Oh, sorry, we don't know anything about that, but you can't do it here.
Makes all good sense to me.
It makes money for the state.
Well, yeah, there was a lot of work to be done, though, for people's rights, though, for fairness and justice and equity. You belong to a lot of different organizations. You volunteer. I saw you volunteer for Habitat for Humanity, and you're in another, I think you're in another
veterans organization.
Veterans organization.
Called VetTrack.
VetTrack?
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about VetTrack. What's the purpose?
There's two different VetTracks in Albany. One's in the drug court and one's in city court. I volunteer in the city court. There, a veteran has gotten into trouble with the law. Doesn't have anybody to turn to, and they are then taken out of the regular court system and given to Judge Keefe, where he treats them not any special treatment, but has a mentor there so that they have an understanding of what's going on, and I can help them through the process to get out of trouble with the law and hopefully put them in a direction so that they don't get in trouble again.
Yeah, well, that's great. And I know you volunteer for many, many other things. Again, we're speaking with Robert Porter. His road name is Bar, and he's featured in the New York Writer magazine, May 2013. Not only is he a centerfold, he's not wearing a bikini, but he's wearing a kilt because of his heritage, and I think it's a great photo. But there's a whole story on you in here.
Yes.
And I didn't realize that. I don't know what page it is, but Robert Bar Porter, a proud Marine and a member of the Leathernecks Motorcycle Club. President of Abate Albany, member American Legion, DAV, MCL, NRA, and the VFW.
Yes.
And this is by Lisa Petrocelli. Lisa's Dino, Petrocelli's wife. She's, and Dino's a famous motorcycle photographer. And it tells, it's a whole page about you.
Yes.
And I'd like to read the whole thing, but I can't. But my impression is, of it is all the things that you have done since you were a young man in the Marine Corps, and throughout your life in law enforcement and government and advocacy, right through to today, and all the volunteer things that you did. And that's wonderful. And Barr is a member or a candidate for City Council this year.
In the 9th Ward.
In Albany, New York, in the 9th Ward. So look for Robert Porter. It won't say Barr, but Robert Porter on the ballot for City Council in Albany, New York, in the 9th Ward.
Yes.
The 9th Ward. Yeah, we wish you well on that too.
Now, the other thing about trying to fight for rights for motorcyclists, and actually any motorist in New York State, I purchased the vehicle and traffic laws from the Department of Motor Vehicles. I just did this a few months ago.
Right.
And if you'll notice, it's the 2009 and 2010 edition.
Yes.
That's the latest edition they've printed.
Oh, they haven't released?
They don't have a 13.
They're 3 years outdated.
They're 3 years outdated. So
okay.
there's 3 years.
So how are you supposed to know if the law changed? Is that your, well, maybe I'm preempting you.
You don't know. So the police can actually sit there and pull you over and give you a ticket for a law that you can't even find to fight.
Well, ignorance of the law is one thing, but non-existent information on the law is another thing. If you can't even find it, like for example, that new law about if a police vehicle stops someone on a highway, especially on a thruway, major highways, that you either have to slow down to
a safe speed, a
very safe speed, but particularly you're supposed to get over into change lane into the outside lane because, you know, rightly so, the officers that, you know, opened the doors got hit and killed by passing traffic. But that's a relatively new law.
Well, you know,
I'll bet you that law is not in here.
No, it's not.
And how would people know? How are they supposed to know? They're not retested. You don't get a letter from DMV saying, oh, by the way, here's the new laws. You better be aware of this. How are you supposed to know this stuff?
I was actually in court in Saratoga. A friend was fighting a loud pipe ticket that he received in Saratoga.
Yeah.
And the assistant district attorney had to give the police officer that issued the citation this book because the officer didn't know what he wrote the citation for.
Yeah.
Now, the district attorney, you'd think that he would have the most current edition.
Right.
That maybe I didn't get the current edition because I was at the DMV.
Yeah.
No, he gave him the 2010 edition.
Yeah.
They don't even have the newest edition.
Yeah.
So they can't even enforce the laws that are there because they don't even know what they are.
Right. You know, it's great that you're doing these things because if nobody ever brought this to light, if nobody ever advocated for motorcycle rights or any vehicle under vehicle and traffic law, we just have to live with it, and innocent people will continue to get convicted, pay heavy fines, and be persecuted for all the wrong reasons.
Right.
So we want to thank you so much for coming here. And you know, it's too bad people have to carry this around, the vehicle and traffic law. Even those, you know, imagine, you know, to defend yourself, you have to stick this in your pocket. You know, carry it. Is that what we have to? Is that what it's come to? You know,
that's what it's come to.
Well, it shouldn't be.
In there's actually 4 different sections specifically covering loud noise and motorcycle mufflers.
Yeah.
4 different statutes. So how do you know to defend which one
it is,
and how,
which one applies.
and even the officers who write it, as I
Yeah.
said in this court case, didn't know what he wrote the citation for.
Right. Well, there's a lot of work to be done, and I think it's on the part of the state and the government to give public education and to let people know, and that hasn't been happening. Well, we're out of time for today, but Robert Porter Barr, City Council candidate, 9th Ward, Albany, President of ABATE, the Albany chapter, U.S. Marine, thanks for coming.
Thank you very much.
It was wonderful to have you. We had a great time. You did a lot of good for the people out there in our viewership, and I hope that you come back and see us again. This is the government segment of Impact, so we want to follow your campaign. So maybe you come back and see us again. We'll talk about your campaign for City Council in the City of Albany.
I'd like that.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you very much.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
You've been watching Impact. I'm your host, Nick Barber. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Proctors, bringing the best in arts, education, and entertainment.